Emily, do you have a favorite carbonated beverage?
Ooh, boy, oh boy, oh boy. I do. I love me some Dr. Pep.
It is the number 2 soft drink in the world, right behind
It's good.
Coke.
John Green made a video about Dr. Pepper and how, like, Dr. Pepper was made to be its own flavor. Like, other sodas were made to taste like other things, but Dr. Pepper was just made to just taste like Dr. Pepper. And it's good. It's just good.
It's good.
All of that said, a root beer is tough to beat.
Oh, you are a big root
like
beer
a good,
stan.
like a quality, really crisp. Oh,
Yeah.
like I mean, botanical is not the right word, but
hops.
yeah, like tuberous. Where you can really taste the tree bark.
Are you a mugs kind of girl?
No, those niche brands that are like really high quality. You know, if you go to like a brewery and they're like, we have a root beer, I'm like, give me that right now.
Oh, we got to start our own B&P root beer brewery.
I would love that.
Welcome to Butter No Parsnips. Every week on Butter No Parsnips, your hosts Kyle Imperator and Emily Moyers take you on an adventure through the weird, wacky, wonderful, and sometimes even wicked world of one wayside word. Strange characters, delightful bits, and general joyousness abound. Join them as they test each other's etymological expertise.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Butter No Parsnips Brewery. I'm Emily Moyers.
Brewery No Parsnips, and I'm Kyle Imperator, your brewmaster for the day, your cicerone.
Kyle, I'm hankering for a nice cool glass of word.
I've got a flight of definitions for you today, Emily, and they're all based on a singular word, and that word today is Codswallop. Codswallop. Codswallop.
Okay, so I'm just going to say right out the gate, I have heard this word. It's a word that every time my dad has ever heard it, he said, I gotta start saying Codswallop, and that is a true fact.
And what he's saying is a true fact. He has to start using Codswallop.
And let me tell you, he's been saying that for my entire life, and I've never heard him use it. So...
Except in that sentence.
Except in that sentence. I have heard this being used to mean nonsense. Like, it's Codswallop. Because that's the sense it was used in Harry Potter.
I mean, wow, Emily, yes. We're not going to talk about that today, but it being used in Harry Potter is something that people note a lot of times.
That's probably the only reason people know it, including me and my dad.
Well, and Emily, you got the definition correct. Yeah,
nice.
As a noun, it can mean UK, Ireland, or Commonwealth slang for senseless or insincere talk or writing, nonsense or rubbish, and it can be used as an interjection just to mean nonsense or rubbish to express disbelief in something, right?
Nice.
Do you think you can get the other meaning, though?
Oh, shoot, I was afraid you were going to ask that.
Yeah.
The rest of the flight.
The rest of the flight.
Wow, okay. So, are there other parts of speech?
No.
It's a noun?
It's a noun. It's a noun,
okay.
Yep.
Okay. The language of origin, is it just like Old English or Celtic?
We don't know. And it may or may not help you get the answer. It probably won't because it's so far removed.
Sure. So the other thing that I'm noticing, just trying to break down the word, I don't know if this is an accurate breakdown of the word, but I'm noticing the wallop part of it. Is that wallop as in like packs a wallop?
No.
Okay, it's not like
we don't know.
Like if you've been hit by a fish, that's a cod's wallop.
Maybe. It can be. Why not?
Boy.
Would you like a hint, Emily?
Yeah, because I don't know if I can get anywhere further than Codswallop.
Yeah, I mean, that's totally fair. The hint that I have for you is pick a little.
Yeah, so I just want everyone to know that Kyle... Put your tongue back in your mouth. Kyle sent me a message the other night that said, Emily, how familiar are you with the Music Man? And I said, not very. He said, all right, we'll see how helpful this hint is. So you said pick a little as one word.
Yeah, pick a little.
I'm not familiar enough with the Music Man that this means anything to me.
It would have given it away if you knew what it was.
Oh, no.
Emily, I'll just tell you what the other meaning is. And
yeah, I feel like I've run aground.
have lots of chats today. Codswallop can also be British slang chiefly used in London, disparagingly to refer to an overly talkative woman or a gossip.
Oh.
Yeah, and then it can be used in more general use as a mildly depreciative term for someone, as a codswallop.
Sure. Not necessarily a woman.
Not necessarily a woman, yeah.
Sure.
So, Emily, the origin of codswallop is ultimately unknown.
Okay.
There's a lot of speculation about what the etymology could be, and both cod and wallop have 1,000,000 trillion different meanings, which is crazy, and why the speculation has run rampant.
Really?
Yeah, we're going to get to all of that.
That's good, because I feel like I only know cod and wallop to mean one thing each.
I know, right? So what we're going to start with today is what is probably the most well-known etymology given for it, but is also probably a folk etymology.
Sure, that's how it always is.
Mm-hmm. So, Emily, in the 1870s, British inventor Hiram Codd, 2 Ds, C-O-D-D,
Okay.
perfected the design of a globe-stoppered bottle for preserving carbonation in mineral water.
Where is this going?
Right? Am I right? Am I right? Am I going to get there to Codswallop? Who knows? So, Emily, these bottles had thick necks with a marble and a rubber stopper in them. Okay. And when they were filled in the factory, they were filled upside down. So they would be put upside down on a thing, and the drink would be pushed up into it, right?
Crazy.
Which allowed the pressure to force the marble and the stopper together against the top of the bottle, sealing in the carbonation.
Sure.
He invented this crazy patented way to do that. You might recognize this style of bottle if you've ever purchased the Japanese soft drink Ramune, which still uses these bottles today.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Exactly.
I have. Yeah.
It's like that, and there's an Indian soft drink that uses those bottles, but those are like just like
they're super
a
weird.
Bygone era.
It's
yeah,
like fascinating
crazy
to look at.
Yeah.
Like, how does this fit together?
Yeah. So the bottles are also known as marble bottles or alley pop bottles. The marble itself being called an alley pop, as alley was a type of marble with a streaked pattern from alabaster, which is what early marbles were made from.
Fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
I like
right?
that.
Either way, the bottles eventually came to be known as cod neck bottles or cod bottles after the creator.
The guy, sure.
Yeah. His early patents, they expired and he never renewed them. So people just started making a bunch of those bottles, and they wrote, like, they had embossed into the glass bottles Cod's expired patent. And that's why they became known as cod bottles.
So funny. They're like, it's ours, we swear.
Yeah. Now, Emily, you said earlier, but can you define for us again what wallop means?
I mean, like a whack.
Yeah. So a wallop is a heavy blow, or as a verb can mean to strike hard, to wallop.
Yeah. Like if something packs a wallop.
If something packs a wallop, it packs a punch, packs a heavy blow.
Yeah.
So, Emily, one suggestion is that the process of opening the bottle, which involved slamming down a special bottle opener to dislodge the marble and release the pressure, brought about the term codswallop to refer to both the action of opening a cod bottle, you would codswallop it, and the opener itself, calling it a codswallop. But it's like, come on.
That's pretty narrow.
Yeah, it's so narrow. It's very unlikely as an etymology, mostly because there's no evidence of this word being used in that context at all. Outside of, in modern day bottle collecting, they'll sometimes call the bottle openers for these bottles codswallops, but it's probably just because they know the word codswallop and somebody made up this etymology, you know?
Yeah.
And that being said, cod bottles in bottle collecting are rare finds, because it turns out that in the 1800s, when he was making these bottles, children would smash them open to get the marbles, which Wikipedia claims is the origin for a synonym for marble, bottle washer. Because
I haven't heard that. That's fun.
Yeah, right?
Back when collecting marbles was like a thing.
Yeah, well, because they would actually literally play games with them. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Another connection here comes from the supposed ire that serious English beer drinkers had for soft drinks. This guy, it's kind of like, I don't know if that was a thing, but
I could see it, though.
That's connected with this, right?
Yeah.
So, Emily, you see, wallop possibly comes from the Proto-Germanic root hlaupana, meaning to run or leap. The English leap does come from this root, but also the Old French galoper, G-A-L-O-P-E-R, to gallop.
Sure.
Which was sometimes also spelled wallope.
Okay.
Why, I don't know. This diverged into the modern English gallop, meaning the fastest gait of a horse,
Yeah.
and wallop, to boil with a continued bubbling.
Okay.
I assume because of the association
Like the
between
bubbling
the sounds.
is like galloping.
Like a gallop, yeah.
Sure.
And gallop also was used in English to mean to boil for a brief time. So like there's definitely a connection between these words.
That's fun to think. I'm like I've got a pot galloping.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
like
from
that.
here, wallop became slang for anything produced by boiling, such as beer or tea.
Okay. Lot of steps that we're walking.
There's two more steps.
Oh my god.
The sense then narrowed to mean weak ale. Wallop is weak ale. I couldn't determine why it narrowed. A few internet sources pointed to possible Cockney slang, wallop the child, meaning mild.
Oh. Good old rhyming slang.
Yeah. But either way, the suggestion is that beer drinkers were sneering at soft drinks by calling it Cod's possessive wallop, a weaker, rubbish version of beer.
So under either of these two etymologies that you've said so far, Codswallop means soft drink.
It means rubbish, but the idea is that it comes from a rubbish drink.
Okay. Wow. Crazy.
Yeah. It's just probably all Codswallop. It just probably like the word is sometimes written with the possessive apostrophe, which we'll talk about later, but there's no evidence of it ever including the double D's, and so there's just no evidence connecting it to Hiram Cod.
Sure.
You know? Now, Emily, originally, the earliest known use of Codswallop, meaning nonsense, was as recent as the year 1963.
So late.
Judging by your reaction, that doesn't make sense to you, right?
I would have thought way earlier.
Well, Emily, just like you, the etymologists of the world were like, this can't be this recent. It must be much older.
It has such a Victorian sound.
Such a Victorian sound, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, in 2005, the Oxford English Dictionary and the BBC launched Word Hunt, a national appeal looking for earlier evidence of Codswallop and 49 other elusive words. And subsequently, the TV show Balderdash and Piffle, which featured an OED panel judging those submissions.
A TV show?
A TV show.
Kyle,
they were like, let's read the submissions.
Should we relaunch that show today?
We must. This is our Balderdash and Piffle, basically.
Incredible.
If any of you at home have submissions you want to make on the word Codswallop, and anything, send it to us. We'll
if it gets us on TV, we'll do it.
So what was discovered from this show, Emily, is that the modern use of the word probably originates only as early as 1959 from the BBC radio/television comedy program Hancock's Half Hour, with quotes like, "Don't give me that old Codswallop," and "What a load of old Codswallop."
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Those are the earliest evidence that we have of that word being used in the sense of nonsense.
From the 50s.
From 1959 and 1960. Yeah.
Wow, crazy.
So in 2020, OED senior editor Matthew Bladden did some more sleuthing and found an interview that talked about the writers of the show, Ray Galton and Alan Simpson, saying, Alan told me that his uncle had used the word and used to say, "Come here, young Codswallop," and they had thought it a good word to use in place of a swear word. So they were just like, this is a funny word that my uncle used to say. Let's put it in here.
We'll use it to mean BS so we don't say BS.
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So it didn't mean that before.
Probably not, because this is proof that his uncle used to say it referring to a person. He used to call him a codswallop, right? Which means it must have been earlier than the 1950s.
Right, but meaning something else.
And meaning something else. So, Bladden then came across an earlier term, the noun codwalloper. Any guesses what that means, Emily?
No. Unless it's what I said, a guy who whacks people with fish.
Not at all, Emily, but it feels Monty Python-esque, right? Yeah. So codwalloper appears earliest in the present tense verb form in an 1858 issue of New Sporting Magazine, which refers to cross fishing, which is using a line with many hooks attached, extending across a stream.
Oh.
Yeah. So like they would throw the line across and have all the hooks hanging in the water.
It's like someone tried to merge net fishing and line fishing into one.
Yeah. So that's cross fishing. And this article refers to cross fishing as codwalloping. It's the earliest that we have of that word. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So as a noun, codwalloper was first regional New York slang for a large fish.
A codwalloper?
A codwalloper was a large fish.
A cod that packs a wallop, I guess.
Well, yes. So a walloper was originally a jokey word for a person or thing that thrashes, and gained the slang sense anything strikingly large, as in a whopper.
Sure. I could see that. Yeah. This is making a ton of sense.
Whopper, Emily, is etymologically unrelated, but it is semantically similar. It comes from the word whop, meaning to beat.
And then came to mean chocolate.
Or burger.
Oh, I forgot about that. No, I only think about the little whoppers.
That's going to go on your headstone. I only think
about the little whoppers. Take that to mean what you will.
So a 1913 issue of the magazine Forest and Stream gives some great examples of this fisherman's jargon, saying, "A bad knot in a fish line was a wrinkle hawk. An excellent thing was just exibogonus. A big fish was an old codwalloper, and a long-stemmed pipe was a flugemacher." I
would like you to send me all of those words so I can start using them all post-haste.
Isn't it crazy?
Words? You said ex bergamot? What did you say?
Exibogonus. I don't know how it's pronounced because I could not find any citation of this word outside of this quote.
Of course not. Of course not. They're ridiculous.
Yeah. So another New England sense of codwalloper, apparently only recorded in dictionaries, meant a cod fishing vessel, and that first appeared in 1891, codwalloper.
So a
boat, yeah. Walloper itself could mean a worker. That was one of the definitions of walloper. And so for reference, the OED points to earlier U.S. vernacular dock walloper, an idler who hangs about docks or a dock worker, and pot walloper, a cook or kitchen worker, especially on a ship. That's the connection that they're drawing there.
Sure.
Right?
I like dock walloper. You said it means someone who lingers around a dock. I like it to mean like someone who's shirking, like a dock worker that's not doing what they're supposed to be.
I mean, basically, yeah. Pot walloper is a whole nother thing. We could do a lot more information about that word. It was originally a political term brought about by England's Reform Act 1832, which declared voting rights for male householders with their own fireplaces where pots could be boiled. And so they were called pot wallopers.
So you had to have a fireplace to vote?
Yep.
I guess just a fireplace as a sign of wealth and
as a
stability.
homeowner.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. I also found an isolated use of potwalloper in cod fishing jargon, which is another relation here, from William Grattan's Adventures of the Connaught Rangers, describing the author's amateurish fishing as clumsy work, which would savor more of potwalloping. And then he says, a term sometimes applied by critics to unfortunate scribblers who write not only to amuse others, but themselves also.
Okay. I mean,
Right?
under that definition, consider me a potwalloper.
I'm a potwalloper, if you can believe it. This definition here is probably related to a sense of walloper meaning clumsy fellow, and walloping as an adjective meaning clumsy.
I guess because you're knocking yourself into things.
I guess. I don't know. Honestly, for most of these words, we're guessing a lot.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Just a lot of shifting meanings.
But, Emily, it was a 1915 issue of the Royal Navy's HMS Natal's Natal newsletter which tipped the scales, and it reads, "So curious that the person who lives on or by the sea has a natural mastery of this lingo technique. The ease with which a Billingsgate codwalloper can crumple up a special constable cannot be beaten even by a socialist orator with twice the lung power." See episode 1, Billingsgate, for more
Episode
information about
1!
Billingsgate. Isn't that fun? Aren't you excited to hear Billingsgate?
That
Naturally.
is fun. So they're talking about the ease with which someone can basically take apart a constable by swearing them into submission.
Yes, basically. Yes. Yeah.
Really
Yes,
good.
but not someone. Specifically here, a codwalloper is a person who handles or deals with fish for a living.
An oyster wife.
An oyster wife, a fishwife, yeah.
Yeah.
It's similar in use to an earlier Newfoundland word wanger, W-H-A-N-G-E-R, or codwanger, which meant one who cures fish.
Okay.
Emily, what does wanger sound like to you? What is it?
What? Nothing.
What does it sound like to you?
Nothing at all.
No. Take a guess, seriously.
I mean, it sounded like Wang to me.
Sure. I mean, I don't know the definition of wang, but you're on the right track, Emily.
Okay.
Unfortunately, wanger originally meant a person who beats or strikes at something. And if your mind is in the gutter like mine is, then you'll be happy to know that, yes, the offensive British term wanker, meaning someone who masturbates, an idiot, an annoying person, or just a penis, possibly comes from wang or wanger.
Well, because Wang is also American slang for a penis.
Yeah, you're wang. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
that's what I thought
on
of.
the right track.
Yeah.
In fact, Emily, in the 1970s, walloper became Aussie slang for a penis. And in the 2000s, it became New Zealand slang for a masturbator.
Good. This is all good. This is great.
Yeah, it's taken a real fun turn, this episode.
Yeah,
Anyways,
absolutely.
By 1916, codwalloper had already broadened to be a mildly depreciative term for any person in the sense of them being a fool.
Mm-hmm.
As in this quote from the Boston Sunday Globe, "Say, what does that old codwalloper upstairs want anyway?"
Sure. Just that old so-and-so.
That old so-and-so, that fool, that codwalloper.
That codwalloper.
Isn't codwalloper such a good word?
Well, yeah, but now that I'm thinking about it in terms of...
Emily, what are you thinking about? You're vile. Emily, we're going to ban you from the aquariums.
Don't turn this on me. You said it.
All right, Emily, let's round this out.
Let's round this out.
You ready?
Please.
Finally, while looking through the OED files for codwalloper, Bladden came across a 1928 quotation from the newspaper News of the World, which read, "What is a codswallop?" apostrophe included. "According to a learned counsel, the term is an East End colloquialism for a woman who cannot keep her mouth shut."
Oh, that's right.
1928.
I forgot that's what you said at the beginning.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's like, oh, wait, there is an earlier use of this word. It just means something completely different.
Crazy. Do we have anything more about it than this one file?
No. There is another use of it that it's kind of iffy what the meaning is, but it's definitely in a fish related sense, but it's only from 1958, which is a year before we have codswallop used as nonsense.
So are there examples of it being used in this sense of a woman who talks a lot?
Not outside of this quote, no.
Oh, but that's the meaning you gave me at the top?
Well, so this is a newspaper that defines it as meaning as such, meaning they knew it meant that in 1928.
But it hasn't been used that way since.
But it hasn't been used, not in writing at least. Or not in writing that we've digitized, you know?
Crazy.
Now, Bladden hesitantly connects this sense to the swarthy fishwives of yesteryear, right?
Sure.
A woman who cannot keep her mouth shut. It's like, how do you not make that connection?
Yeah.
Between,
Yeah. Which we talked about in episode 1.
And this would explain the cod part of Codswallop.
Oh,
right?
sure.
The fish directly. But Green's Dictionary of Slang helps us speculate a little further. First, Green points to a dialectical definition for wallop, meaning to chatter or scold. I couldn't find any evidence of this. I don't know where he got his definition for this, but it's not hard to draw a connection between the like bubbling of a pot to like chattering away.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I can see that.
He also points to a sense of the word cod, meaning a friend, which then widened to mean a fellow, and then shifted to mean a fool.
Where does codpiece come from?
We're gonna get there, Emily.
Okay, good.
We're gonna get there. I'm so glad you asked.
I thought about it earlier, and I was like, is it related?
Yep.
I didn't know if codpiece referred to the fish or something else. I don't think it does, because I think it means where the codpiece goes.
Yes, it does. It definitely does not refer to the fish.
Yeah.
We think. So perhaps Emily, and this is my speculation based on some of the etymology that Green presented, was a codswallop originally just a fool's babble? That seems to make the most sense to me here, right?
Yeah.
That last sense of cod, meaning a fool, may be related to the 16th century cod's head, which meant a dupe or a fool, or literally a fool's head. That was elaborated in the 19th century to cod's head and shoulders, which is hilarious, right?
Like God's head and shoulders above the rest.
Yeah, or the worst dandruff shampoo ever.
It's fish scented.
And flavored. And it also brought us the adjective cod's headed, meaning foolish. Cod's head was also used as early as the 17th century to mean a penis.
Yep.
Get ready. You're not going to expect this connection, Emily. It comes from a sense of cod or cods, meaning the scrotum, because cod originally meant a small bag or pouch.
Oh, okay.
So, Emily, if you've ever wondered why the part of a suit of armor used to protect the male genitalia is called a codpiece, which was also a euphemism for a penis, it's because it was literally a piece of the suit that was a sack.
Well, cursed knowledge, but does answer a question that I had, so.
Yeah, it does. Emily, I've got a better and even further connection for you. We're going all the way this episode.
Good.
This may also be from whence we get the fish sense of cod.
Oh.
The oldest term for the fish being codling, referring to fish caught in the sack at the lower end of a fishing net, also called the cod end.
So the piece of armor name doesn't come from the fish. The fish comes from...
Vice versa. Can you believe it? They're like distant cousins.
Yeah. Yikes.
In the late 19th century, Emily, cod came to mean deception or lie.
Oh.
And then it gained the verb senses to tease or to hoax, and then to cheat and defraud, and eventually gained the noun sense a joke or a hoax was a cod.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. I haven't heard any of those, but I like it.
Yeah. So, I mean, that could also be related in some way in the etymology of Codswallop. It's been speculated at least.
Sure.
But the real joke here is that Codswallop, while it may feel Dickensian, as Ray Galton once noted, there just ain't any proof. And anything you hear otherwise is nonsense.
It's nonsense.
Yeah. So, Emily, it's now up to you to lend a serious air to Codswallop by using it in a sentence.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Maybe I can lend a Dickensian air to it.
I think you might be able to.
Okay, here we go.
Mhm.
When Ebenezer Scrooge was first was first told by the ghost of Jacob Marley that he would be visited by 3 spirits that night, he said, "That's just Codswallop." And he said, "You're just Codswallop. More of gravy than of grave."
Wow, perfect, Emily. You made it Dickensian.
Yeah, it's in the script. Go check.
I think from now on, whenever we make adaptations of
It's going to have Codswallop in there.
Christmas Carol, it's got to have Codswallop in there. Well, Emily, I know that you can't have enough of this, so are you maybe interested in one more meal, another course?
I need a game, Kyle.
Emily, your game today is called Walloping Cod Capers.
Great.
Emily, there's so many other words that use cod and wallop.
Crazy.
So I know, right? So I'm going to give you 3 schools of words, and you're going to have to fish out which is the cod among them.
Okay.
So your first group of words is hogswallop, curwallop, and pennywallop. Which one of those is a word that I made up?
Okay. I'm looking for it's 2 truths and a lie. I mean, curwallop feels like the odd one out because you've sent me it written out, and that's the only one that has a hyphen before wallop.
That's true.
But that feels like that would be a double bluff if that one was made up. I'm going to guess that you made up hogswallop to try to trick me because it sounds like hogwash.
That's wow, it does sound like hogwash, Emily. But you're wrong. Actually, the cod here is pennywallop, and I'm actually really proud of myself because it does sound like it could be real. An old word, right?
Yeah.
Hogswallop seems to be a variant of codswallop by analogy with swill being pig food or garbage.
Sure,
right?
Probably hogwash is the same.
Yeah, I would assume so. Curwallop or curswallop means a sudden wallop or onrush, or it can be used as an adverb with a sudden wallop. As in this sentence, a dainty pretty face at my elbow burst into tears and fell down kerswallop back on the cushions.
That's good. It's like the same as kerplunk.
It's like kerplunk, yeah.
But better, honestly.
But better.
Kerwallop is better than kerplunk.
Yeah. Okay, Emily, your next school of fish are cod acting, cod indignation, and cod means.
Oh, wow. Wow. Once again, it feels like there's an obvious one out, which is the very lengthy cod indignation. But I'm going to assume that that's also a double bluff. I'm going to say that cod acting is the odd one out, but that's a complete guess.
Yeah, wow, you're 0 for 2 today, Emily.
Dang.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not with it.
So cod acting is foolish behavior, and to cod act is to play tricks. Cod indignation means mock offense, and one of the quotes that I found it being used in relates it to a Groucho Marx quote when he advises a dinner guest, "This bill's a disgrace. If I were you, I wouldn't pay for it." That'd include my famous Groucho Marx impersonation there. Everyone
winning Groucho Marx impression.
Yeah.
And cod means you made up?
Yeah, cod means is just made up.
Wow.
All right, Emily, here's your last one.
All right.
Your words are bogey walloper, cow walloper, and muffin walloper.
I mean, I'm a muffin walloper. Well, bogey walloper, I'm immediately thinking that maybe that is like a pilot's slang, and I'm hoping it is because that would be fun.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna assume that one's real just on manifesting it.
That's fair.
I'm gonna say, I guess I'll say the cow walloper is the fake one there.
Yeah, it sounds the most fake, right?
Yeah, you got me 3 for 3, didn't you?
I got you 3 for 3, Emily.
Dang.
Sorry, man. Wow.
Kyle's so smart.
Yeah, bogey walloper
He's so crafty.
is a bogey. It's a cod.
Oh, can we just deep fake that it was like World War II RAF slang?
I mean, why not? I feel like anything's possible nowadays. With COD AI, anything's possible. So, cow walloper seems to be either an old Somerset term for a peasant or an agricultural worker, which makes sense, right? A
Sure.
cow walloper is like a cow worker, I guess.
Yeah.
But also, I found on a Belfast forum a post that said it meant a prankster was a cow walloper.
I guess maybe like a cow tipper.
Maybe, I guess. Someone who beats cows. Who knows?
I don't know.
But a muffin walloper, Emily, I think I only found a Green's Dictionary of Slang only has one quote for it from like 1909, but that feels about right? And a muffin walloper is a gossipy woman who enjoys dissecting her friends and acquaintances over a cup of tea and a muffin. A muffin walloper.
Wow.
Which kind of brings us back to Codswallop and the earliest meme that we have of that.
What a crazy journey that you've led us on today, Kyle. But all fun definitions and fun etymologies, be they real or folk.
Sometimes the folk ones are just as fun as the real ones.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like now after this episode, I and my dad might finally now actually use the word codswallop. This will be a big moment for my household.
For the Moyerses.
And if all of you enjoyed this watershed moment as much as I have, remember that you can watch us on YouTube at Butter No Parsnips, and you can find Butter No Parsnips on other social media on Facebook and Instagram at Butter No Parsnips Podcast, and on TikTok at Butter No Parsnips. And if you liked today's episode, consider giving us a 5-star rating or review wherever you heard us.
And if you really liked today's episode, consider donating to our Patreon at patreon.com/butternoparsnips. Donating $5 or more gets you exclusive access to Buttered Parsnips, our After Hours podcast.
Thanks so much to all of you. You help us make what we make.
And with that, I've been Kyle Imperator.
And I've been Emily Moyers, and this has been Butter No Parsnips.
Butter No Parsnips is produced by Seth Glicksman, Emily Moyers, and myself, Kyle Imperator. The main and accompanying themes were composed by Kyle Imperator.